The other thing she did is something politicians of both parties do when they're in Arizona, including Kerry Lake did it, which is to invoke John McCain. Okay, so let's look at Kamala Harris talking about Senator McCain.
As though it is a sign of weakness to have empathy. In the Senate, well, it was late into the night, and in the Senate, you walk onto the Senate floor, and there are these big wooden ornate doors, and those ornate doors opened, and John McCain came out. He's going after me. And I'm going back after him. I'm going back after him. And that was it. And this is what the public saw. And then I step onto the floor of the well of the Senate later that day. We had votes. And I passed by John McCain. And he looks at me and he says, "Kid, come over here. You're going to make a great senator." True story. True story. True story.
All right, so Meghan's with us. Meghan, you know how much respect I have for your dad, and this whole community does. And up the words behind her, country over party is what your dad lived, truly. So I'm just wondering what you think of that clip and her invoking your dad. But hold on, I'm sorry, you're muted. I apologize. Go ahead.
Everybody does it on both sides. I'm not thrilled with this because I just find that maybe it did happen. To me, it doesn't sound like him. And I tweeted after I saw it that I'm really just, for me personally, on a personal level, Democrats really want to turn my dad into a progressive liberal that, like, 6 years after his death, he's now just the most liberal progressive that ever existed when he's one of the most conservative senators in American modern history. I think it's because he's still so popular in Arizona even now, and there's data and polling and research that's been done by polling institutes and the McCain Institute that shows that around 14% people in Arizona who are Republicans consider themselves McCain Republicans. So I'm sure that's what she's going for, and those are people who are obviously not Trumpers. I think it's getting to the point of being disrespectful the way everyone is talking about him, because I find so much of it it just doesn't sound like him. And we were obviously incredibly close, and I worked with him both professionally and we were very close personally, and it's hard. I don't like it. And I remember what he actually said about Vice President Harris in private. I actually was like remembering a specific dinner party with something he said, which I don't want to be disrespectful or uncouth and share it right here, but like it just sounds like not real to me.
I'll ask you a question about it. You can pass, of course. Is what she said in characterizing what she claimed was a conversation with your dad that he said you make a great senator, is that consistent with your sense of what he thought of her?
No, not at all. And there's one thing in particular. There's one dinner that I was at with him and some other politicians I can remember very specifically something he said about her. And again, I don't want to like get into some kind of match with the Harris campaign, but I just like, he was not a Democrat. He was so far from it. And her stance on Israel alone would gross him out. So like, I just, and Afghanistan and the economy and the border, like and I also think it's just very strange that like Democrats can't get any other way to prove their bipartisan like bona fides other than bringing up a dead senator. Like, have you done nothing else in your life? You have this like obscure story that I've never heard her say, I've never heard, period. Maybe it did happen. Maybe it didn't. I didn't work with him all the time, but like I've never heard it before. She never felt the need to share it before, except 24 days before the election in Arizona, when you're, for by all intents and purposes, from everything I've heard from you and many other places it's being reported, she's flatlining with independence. So I am sick of it, but I also understand that like politicians are going to politician and they've got to like invoke whatever they can, whatever they can. And on both sides, everybody does it. And it's hilarious because some of the people who are the most cruel to him in life have sainted him in death.